Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about the sizzling topic of what is probate. I know that this may sound like the most boring topic you could learn about. You might hear or read a lot, that the point of estate planning is to avoid probate. But here's why I want to talk about it. You might hear or read a lot that the whole point of doing an estate plan is to avoid probate. So let's understand what that is. When I say that you want to avoid probate, what is it that you're wanting to avoid? What is probate? So probate is simply a court system. It's a court system. Every state has their own probate court system where a probate judge says who is in charge of an estate. Nothing can happen through a probate court until a probate judge issues an order with their signature as to what somebody can do on behalf of someone else, whether that person is living but maybe incapacitated or a minor, or maybe that person has passed away and now this person being appointed by the judge is acting on behalf of that person's estate. So when you pass away, and I am calling it what it is because I'm a believer that just because we're planning for it, it will not hasten its occurrence. So stick with me, even if that sounds like a hard topic. When you pass away, someone has to be in charge of your assets and your debts and managing your estate. So if you don't decide in advance who that is and decide it in a proper legal way, and I'll get into that in just a minute, then a probate judge is going to decide who is in charge of making sure that your assets go to certain people, your heirs, who are legally entitled to them under the statutes of your state. This is also the court system, the probate court, who will make sure that someone, whether it's a minor child or incapacitated adult, has someone else put in charge of their affairs, that a judge would select someone to be in charge of a minor child or incapacitated adult's affairs and making decisions about their well-being and their medical care for them. That's also the probate court system that handles those scenarios. So the probate court is really, one way to think of it is that it is a plan, so to speak, but it's really a plan for those who don't have a plan, for those who do not do their own estate plan first. So if you have not done estate planning, to avoid probate, because when you put it in your own writing, here's what I want to happen, I appoint this person, here's who my heirs are, then a judge isn't deciding it, you decided it. But if you don't do that in advance, you are leaving it up to a probate judge who is a stranger to you and your family to figure out who's in charge of your finances if you're incapacitated, who is guardian of your children if you have minor children, if something happens to you, and who is in charge of getting your assets gathered, inventoried, paying off your creditors, and ultimately distributing your estate out to your heirs as that's defined in statute, not as it's defined in your own estate planning document. That's where a probate judge fills in the gap and you, quote, have a plan as we speak. It's just not the plan you want. It is a court proceeding. I think that's important to know about probate. This is a court process. When your family members or your loved ones have to go through probate to help you or manage your estate, they get a case number. They have to publish notices in the newspaper. They have to pay court filing fees. Court documents are public, just like any other legal proceeding is public. And then a judge is deciding things along the way on the judge's own timetable, which might not match what your family needs, especially your minor children when it comes to their financial needs if you were to pass away while you leave minor children. And again, like I mentioned, probate court records are public. You could actually go find Marilyn Monroe's will if you wanted to. It's out there. So probate is not a must, meaning you don't have to end up there if you do your estate planning in advance. You can avoid probate with a well-drafted, well-designed estate plan if you sit down to actually put these things in writing ahead of time. But to the extent that you do estate planning online, you do it yourself. I've seen handwritten wills, I've seen typed up wills. You're going to miss a few key components. And even though you think you're doing your estate plan, you're, quote, avoiding probate, that's not the case, and your family will end up there anyway. So let me bust a big myth for you real quick. A will, a last will and testament, does not avoid probate. There are lots of reasons why that is that I don't want to get into in this video. The point of my video today is to share with you what is probate. It's where a judge decides things and reads a will and approves your will, or maybe says, you know what, that's not an accurate representation of that person's last will, and maybe they don't even go by your last will. Like, that's where things get really tricky when it comes to doing your own plan online, typewriting your own plan, handwriting your own plan. So you want to sit down with an attorney who knows what they're doing to design your plan well, draft it well, cover all the bases, and truly avoid probate. Because again, a will in and of itself does not avoid probate. and your attorney can help you more about why that is and how to avoid probate in the full across the board with your assets and with your loved one. So I hope you enjoyed learning about probate today. It's an inevitable process if you don't do your planning right, or you do no planning at all. It's an avoidable process if you do your planning right. All right, see you next time.